joining you. We have the first pictures of the Luthra brothers in the country. This is just as they have arrived in the country. These are exclusive pictures that Times Now has accessed. Will it be justice at last for the victims? The Luthra brothers who tried to escape the clutches of the law, escaping even as the blaze was on in their nightclub, have now been dragged back to the country to face the law. These are the first pictures as they arrived in the country. They're wearing masks, but the Luthra brothers now being brought back. Yes, Arunil.
Well, that is right. Basically, these are the exclusive pictures. You can clearly see the Luthra brothers wearing masks, one of them wearing a cap as well, being dragged back to India. This has been done within 10 days. A kind of a cohesive and a coordinated operation that has been conducted by Goa police, by several central agencies, as well as working in tandem with the agency in Thailand as well. In fact, it was the Goa police who had got to know about the location of Luthra brothers. They after filing the FIR, that immediately contacted the Bureau of Immigration, who later on told them that the Luthra brothers had gone to Phuket. Later on, the Goa police, via their individual source in Phuket as well, tried to track down the location where the Luthra brothers were staying. They were staying in a hotel in Patong. Their movements were being constantly tracked, and later on, the Thai agencies were being contacted with. They basically asked for only three things. One was a lookout notice. The other one was that their passport should be impounded, and also a blue corner notice should be issued against them. All these requirements of the Thailand agencies were being served by Goa police, working in tandem, obviously under the instructions of India's central agencies. And now this is a massive success of dragging back Luthra brothers, and from here on, when the Luthra brothers reach Goa, the action will shift over here. And how a watertight case the Goa police will be able to make against the Luthra brothers. Some of the previous fire cases will also be referred to. In earlier fire incident cases as well, we have generally seen that the buck only stops at the owners. The owners are punished. But here, at Times Now as well, we have been trying to dig deeper, trying to expose that how it was a nexus that was operating. The politician, local politician, middlemen, as well as businessmen nexus that was operating, which allowed this illegal club or pub to operate illegally without those safety equipments in place.
Okay, all right. Aditya Pratap, how is this going to hold in court? I just want to also go back to the anticipatory bail plea that they had filed, in which the Luthra brothers had first claimed that there is a threat to their life. They had also claimed that they had fled to Thailand because of business reasons. But the probe findings showed very clearly that there was no operational outlet in Phuket. And the Goa police have also revealed some very chilling details of how the entire escape had been planned. So how is this case going to go forward from here?
Foremost, I will begin with the visuals of the tragedy itself. The tragedy began when a belly dancer was performing. Fireworks went off in the background, and then the thatched roof of the structure caught fire. The building was a Lakshagriha, a complete inflammable structure. Number two, the choreography of the show clearly showed that it could not have been done without the Luthra brothers' involvement. Obviously, they have to make profits from the property. They will take every step required to maximize the profit from the property. Secondly, the fact that the Luthra brothers, immediately within 2 hours of the tragedy, they booked their tickets, shows a guilty conscious mind, because this will reflect heavily on the intention. Because criminal law in essence is mens rea, and here the fact that they fled to Thailand will clearly show that they had a culpable and criminal intent. Third, I would also like to bring in, this evasive maneuver which they tried. We have business and all that. See, today the justice system cannot be taken for a ride. You cannot play a fraud upon the statute. Plus, you have section 262 of the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita also, which says resistance or obstruction by a person to his lawful apprehension. That whoever intentionally offers any resistance or illegal obstruction to the lawful apprehension of himself for an offense which he has, been charged with, or attempts to escape from custody up to 2 years. So there is a possibility that they might even impose section 262 on him, that knowingly to evade lawful apprehension, to evade answering before the law, you escape from the country. Third, the Luthra brothers, I can tell you for a fact that today trials have sped up. The days, where six months abnormal trials, the era is over. Today, I am very sure that the trial of the Luthra brothers will be from the fast track court. Plus, we are also very much aware that the Birch by Romeo Lane was constructed in violation of several environmental statutes.
Yes.
So even in my opinion, Section 15 of the Environment Protection Act, which makes environmental violations a criminal offense, punishable with 5 years in jail, that also should be applied against the Luthra brothers. And finally, I do feel that the police is doing a good job. Police are investigating it top to bottom. Not only the owners, even the staff members and managers have been arrested. This shows that employees also should not be under the impression that the master will take the blame. No, everyone who is involved. Remember, the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is not concerned with the post or designation of a person. It is concerned with the actual role played by him in committing of the crime. And clearly, at Birch by Romeo Lane, fire safety took a clear backseat. Several offences under 105, culpable homicide not amounting to murder, negligent conduct with respect to fire substance, and not taking due care and caution, doing rash and negligent act. Obviously, all these sections coupled with the Environment Protection Act, I'm sure that the FIR and the charge sheet will be quite laden with substance, and I'm sure that the justice system also, it will conduct the trial in a focused manner and avoid any unnecessary adjournments. Because,
in fact, not just have there been, you mentioned multiple violations. We've been reporting on that as well. The club has multiple violations, and the tragedy took place. They were escaping from the country. Details also suggested how another owner, Ajay Gupta, also got himself admitted in the hospital to await arrest, while these two brothers had booked their tickets to go out of the country, to flee the country. So these multiple violations, apart from the fact that they were also trying to flee the country, how is it going to be looked at by the court? Is the court going to look at the fact that they were trying to flee from the country even as the blaze was on? Because these are all details that have been revealed by the Goa police.
Absolutely. Because now these brothers will be arrested. Now they've been taken into custody. Now the remand hearing will take place. The court will decide on the quantum of their police custody. Now, one thing we can be rest assured that the Luthra brothers can say goodbye to bail for the time being.
My apologies. Just a moment. Let me go across to my colleague Isha, who is joining us from the airport. Isha was traveling in the same flight where the Luthra brothers were brought in. Isha, what's happening in the airport? How long will it take for them to be brought to the court?
Pratibha, the aircraft has now been completely emptied. All the passengers who were at the aircraft have now been deplaned, and now the Luthra brothers will be safely escorted out, and then they will be arrested. The Luthra brothers have now been dragged back. This is 10 days after the fire took place, and while we were trying to ask questions and hold them accountable, they stated that they were not comfortable with being clicked. However, we were just asking questions, but they refused to say anything. They refused to even answer any questions and say they were not comfortable. But what we have been told is that the Luthra brothers have now formally been arrested. There are several teams at the airport awaiting them to finish their immigration and come out of the terminal so they can finally be nabbed. They will be produced in court shortly as well. That is also something we have been told. They were accompanied by 3 senior officials of the CBI. And an Indian embassy official from Thailand also accompanied them back, and they were brought in. They were brought in the early hours, and they checked in at the airport. And now they will be produced in court shortly. We are seeing a lot of teams at the airport as well who are here to take the Luthra brothers back to Goa so that they can finally face the law. The 25 victims finally get the justice that they deserve.
Right. In fact, Isha, you were also in Thailand, even as the authorities were looking for the Luthra brothers, after which they were detained and then they've been brought back. It's been a long-run process. It's taken 10 days, but now they've been brought back to the country. Take us through the process that you witnessed in Thailand, how the authorities were working against time to ensure that they are brought to India to face justice, and the process that will follow now. What are you seeing in the airport currently?
Pratibha, primarily the Luthra brothers checked into Bangkok, and that was where the visual of them checking out of the immigration counter came. That is the first visual that confirmed their presence in Thailand. Then they came to Phuket. In Phuket, we spoke to sources. We found out that they were at the Patong area. That was a tourist area where there isn't much police presence as well. So they were there for 3 to 4 days when they were nabbed finally at the Hotel Indigo. This was in Patong. Our news break getting confirmed. Times Now was the only channel reporting there from the first day. In fact, we were the first ones on the ground, and the lens is now finally on the ones who have flouted norms openly, violated permissions, and then in Thailand, what we were also then told is then they were detained in the Phuket detention center, and after that they were transferred to Bangkok, because Bangkok is where there were all necessary paperwork that needed to be done. In fact, there was also an approval of the course that needed to be taken, because the Luthra brothers had entered Thailand on a valid passport. So humanitarian angles had to also be probed as to if India does indeed have a real reason for them to be deported back. So there were multiple angles that were looked into. There were multiple issues that were sought at, and then finally that they have been sent back to India. However, if we speak of the body language that the Luthra brothers had at the airport that I saw is that it did not seem like there was any remorse that they felt. They walked, and in fact they even communicated it that they're not feeling comfortable with the media clicking their pictures. However, we were just asking questions. So the body language still arrogant, still refusing to bow down or apologize for what went wrong. 25 people have lost their lives in the Goa Inferno tragedy. And they continue to state that they only went there for work. However, now the law has finally caught up to them, and
So,
they will be
where
dragged
are the Luthra
back.
brothers currently? Are they still at the airport? Where are they currently?
Pratibha, we are being told that the Luthra brothers are still deplaning because there is a lot of immigration that needs to be done. There are a lot of security checks, and they have in fact communicated to the authorities that they are fearing that their personal liberty is being violated. So the authorities are also now making an extra effort to ensure that they can be escorted back, and they are not that they can safely be escorted back without much of media glare, because they refuse to answer questions. They refuse to even be photographed. That's what they have been saying. However, what we have been told now is that they have been moved out of the aircraft, and they will soon and shortly be arrested formally by the Goa police. However, the Goa police is at the airport. They are awaiting them, and this is also where a team of Delhi police is. So this is where in tandem all authorities have worked together. In fact, CBI raw officials there as well to take back the Luthra brothers from Thailand. They continue to maintain that they only went there for work. In fact, a source inside the immigration center also told me that the Luthra brothers are maintaining that, please look at my Instagram account. I do indeed go to Phuket, and I continue to go there just for work. So that is what they have been stating. They refuse to take any accountability for about 25 lives lost, and still no remorse, no apology. Raises multiple questions, and the law has finally caught up, and another successful deportation for the Indian authorities.
And they tried everything in the book to try and escape the law actually catching up, because even as the Indian authorities had reached Thailand to take them into custody, they had brought in their legal team as well. What were these multiple attempts that the Luthra brothers made, Isha, to avoid facing the law in Goa in India?
So, Pratibha, one of the case is being led by Tanveer, who is a senior advocate, and his junior associate, Vaibhav Suri, was in Bangkok to assist the proceedings. In fact, he even met with the Luthra brothers in the Bangkok detention center for about 30 minutes, one day
but none
before.
Of it really worked, because the Indian authorities were clear about the charges against them and informed the Thailand counterparts on that. Isha, I'll come back to you for those updates. Quick break now. We'll be right back.